And here we go. We're live. Here we have Kyle Rogers of Elite Logistics. Thank you for coming on the Supply Chain Podcast.
Welcome, thank you.
All right. So this is our second time. We tried to get you on the last time at Retail Fulfillment Summit, which was March earlier this year. So I guess we couldn't work out a schedule. Fantastic to have you here.
Thank you.
I've been told you are the life of the party, so we're very happy for you to kind of be here. Fred and the rest of the team have said it's always fun to have you. So we're glad to have you here for a chat. So maybe as a start, give us an introduction. What you're doing now for Elite Logistics and what your background is with regards to supply chain.
All right, so maybe I'll start with background and then lead into Elite Logistics. So some people will know this story, that know me. So grew up in transport and logistics business in potato merchants, actually.
Ooh,
so
okay.
Family business, potato merchants, potato brokers, so trucks, cold storage, forklifts, manufacturing, distribution of potatoes all across Ireland.
Yeah.
Studied logistics for 4 years in university, moved over here, worked for a couple of large national logistics companies, co-founded a tech business, which a lot of people know me from those days. I've been heavily involved with the SCLIA for 7 years. During that period, sat on the board of directors for 4 years. Great association. It's actually where I learned to network and meet a lot of people and did a lot of the speaking gigs.
Yeah.
And then had a bit of a sabbatical, which is not the right time to talk about that. So I had some time off, and joined Elite back February this year.
Yeah.
So just 3 months in.
Okay, well, roundabout then come back. So I've not heard about that story around the family business. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I think it's a lot different from where, because we had a few speakers, and I think in this series I realized nobody really, not say nobody, but many people kind of fall into supply chain, but they don't might not be the top of the mind and say, okay, you know what I want to do? I want to be in logistics.
Yeah.
So yours is a family business. Tell us about that.
Well, I was born into it. It's kind of like, school was secondary, like growing up as one of five, one of three boys. My dad always had a saying, I'm not paying someone else's son to work in the business while you sit on your ass, you know what I mean, and play computer games or whatever it may be. So it was always come home from school, from about 12 or even younger, get off your uniform, get out in the yard at 3:30. And if there's time to do homework late that night, then you have time to do the homework. So work was a priority, but also now upon reflection, you learn a lot from working in a family business. Subconsciously, you're watching a business grow. You're maybe hearing micro conversations with mum and dad talking about business growth, buying new trucks, so lorries we'd call them, opening up new warehousing, talking to customers, learning how to sell, to account manage, different processes within the financial, collecting money, writing dockets, receipts, technology being integrated. So it's kind of born into it. Obviously convenient, but working with your brothers and even have some of your friends work there, it was very family type business. But then my dad always said he wanted an education because he didn't get an education. He wasn't lucky enough to have, grew up in tougher times in Northern Ireland. So being a Catholic from Northern Ireland, having seen some tough times, he would have seen a lot tougher times. And he really wanted me to go study transportation logistics. I remember his words. To go and study that for 4 years, transportation logistics in Belfast.
Yeah.
And once you have that experience and overlaid with the education, then he always said manners and education's easily carried. And then travelled here.
Oh wow, okay. So why Australia? As in, I heard recently that 50% of all Australian residents actually were born outside of Australia.
Wow.
So. Yeah, how did you end up here? And it's far from Ireland.
This is a story not many people know. I'm going to tell it since you've asked. So I finished my degree and happy to share it, like everyone has their story. So my old man passed at 19, so just I was about to start uni, and then he wanted me to study logistics, so that was my mission to get that degree. But when I graduated with 23, he also said, before you pass, travel when you're young. Because once you settle down, you won't have the chance. So I booked a working holiday visa to come to Melbourne and then do the backpacking from Melbourne right up the coast to Cairns and do all the backpacking and see where I ended up. There was no particular destination where to live. I was just going to give it a year, do some farm work I've had to and see how it worked out. But before I actually left Ireland, I met a girl online. It's my wife, and we've connected. What much more can I say than that? Had got along well, let's just say, and she was actually coming to Europe for 4 months and staying in Ireland. And I had a university house at the time, and also mum lives in Spain, so my house was free. I said, look, why don't you come stay with me? I'm going to Melbourne in August 15, She was coming to Ireland in May 15, and that was it. The rest is history. Picked her up from the airport, and married, 2 kids. Story for another podcast.
Yeah,
different type of podcast.
Yeah, but sure, that's a beautiful story, and I guess like that's the journey, right? Like how do you get from here?
Connecting the dots, it's important to reflect and connect the dots, and like why are you here? Why did you end up in this role? Why did you end up in Australia? And you got to join the dots. How it's like dozens of times your life can just go different ways, crossroads. On a daily basis, you make one decision that leads to this path, make another decision that takes you down a different path. So that was a good decision. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for that. You went down the memory lane. So come back to logistics a little bit. So here at the supply chain week. So you've been this is like our second day here. So any interesting kind of like insights that you've had come across? Anything that you've learned? Not so much. It's more like, not that I haven't learned anything, it's more like reinforcing the stuff. And, it's a lot of similar topics, which is great, but new speakers, I think the networking is the best part of it for me. Because I get to see a lot of people over a period of 2 days, like 20 or 30 people here that I know really well. So instead of, I don't have to travel to Sydney as much if I get to see 20 people all here in one hit. Little micro conversations, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. It's just a quick catch up. And that's an important thing about these conferences, is like the more you keep coming, the deeper those connections become. And also the vendors are really good. Sometimes you can get as much for, even as a vendor myself, I have sponsored the Retail Fulfillment Summit, you can get as much, if not more, out of just chatting to vendors and even your competitors as well. So a lot of friendly faces, some from a lot of people up from Melbourne as well. Speakers are really good. Lots of choice, obviously, with the 3 streams. You can't get to them all. It's almost like too many choices. You got to choose the right ones, and just find the balance really of networking, getting out there, seeing the stands, getting to a few. But it gives you that choice to pick the ones that you want. So it's okay. I enjoy it. Let me have a quick check to make sure my things are all going. Okay, still going. All right, so and this is kind of new, isn't it? This year? Yeah, this year we've only just started rolling this out. Retail fulfillment was the first one. We did it again in Canberra with our Gov Data series, which we will be dropping soon, and then this one. So in the major shows, we want to in case it was not clear to the audience, but what we're trying to do here is not just learn from thought leaders, but we want to put a face behind it, like to help get a bit of a understanding of the why, not just the what. So on the subject of what do you think? So this is one of the key points that we have seen, like in many conferences, not just here, but how about what are your thoughts around emerging technologies for supply chain, like AI, IoT, blockchain? As in, what do you think about that? Is that good, bad? It's subjective. Like everything in life is good or bad. Everything's a double-edged sword. But these topics have been going around at conferences for like many years. I remember in 2018 there was an AI supply chain event, or on Eventbrite, all these sorts of things. But have to have those conversations first before they actually, it's now coming into adoption. I think AI is a big one, of course. Anyone that's used ChatGPT as an example, but it's much more than that. For supply chain, it's going to be pretty big, just given the mass amounts of data, the complexities in supply chain, and starting to understand the different carrier mixes in Australia. So you'll be able to actually go, I want to send one pallet from here to here, and this is the weights, and this is dangerous goods, and it will spit it out. Like, it's unbelievable. Humans are really good. We can hold a lot of information in our brains. Experience is great, but having that as like more to complement the human element is most important for people, not to get scared of it and try and embrace it sooner. It's harder. It would be harder, I could imagine, for bigger companies to try overlay like those technologies, because it's so big and red tape and everything takes time. But I think the smaller companies that adopt these technologies will probably have we'll be able to allow them to compete against the bigger companies. If that makes sense. IoT has been around for a while. I'm not well versed in that. Understand and get the concept of it. Blockchain is kind of, gone away by the wayside somewhat in the last few years. There was that period of hype. It was quite for a bit. Didn't really take off. Maybe I'm wrong. There'll be someone listening to this is probably a blockchain person. I'm happy to be proven wrong. But AI is a big one, and it's the word on everyone's lips. I'm trying to think what else. I think the people elements, the other part. I mentioned it earlier. It's like you mentioned earlier, like the life of, wouldn't say the party, but the life of bringing life to it. Like, at the end of the day, life's all about people. Right? Everybody, there's a lot of people with trucks, there's a lot of people with bricks and mortar, warehousing. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of technologies. There's a lot of vendors. There's a lot of things people sell, but at the end of the day, it's people. Right? We all remember the people that we work with. I think when we retire, you want to remember not the deals that you done, or the contracts, or the projects that you implemented or worked on, or it's the people, like having this conversation right now, like you're building connection. Humans were connecting,
Okay.
Yeah. We're driven by connection. Humans.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think that's why we had this show, right? Like, this conference is for us to make connections with people that you know, people that you don't know, and hope that you might learn something. I think we also talked a little around, like, cross-pollination. We had a speaker earlier here on the podcast, and he talked about what he's going to be on stage talking about will be related to retail. But at the same point, he was hoping people who are not in retail to join and have a listen, because you want to see, and the big retailers who are doing it well, that could have implications for your business, albeit like you're not in that same realm, but how they do like same day shipping, or like how they do fulfillment and customer experience. That's something you can bring across to everywhere.
Yeah, I think it's cross pollination is a good one, because it's a bit like co-opetition as well. It's like a word coined back from the 80s or 90s in Harvard. It's like collaborating with your competitors to get a better result for your customers. So like I've worked in warehousing business and I'm warehousing business now, and we have a lot of retail customers. And a previous business as well, there was two large dangerous goods clients. They actually shared the same facility. They were like direct competitors, but they agreed to share the same facility because of the infrastructure and the costs were required for sprinklers and all the stuff that make the warehouse compliant, like millions of dollars. But they're like, we don't compete in the warehouse, we compete at the shop front, we compete at the retail, so share resources, share a truck. So if you're sending a truck and you've got 10 pallets and they've got 10 pallets, going to the same place, send them together and save costs.
Well, it reminds me of like Inter Milan and AC Milan sharing a stadium.
Yes.
Sorry, football fan.
I know. I won't touch on there's a bit of football result this morning. So for any United fans out there, it's a bit touchy at the moment.
It's a bit painful. It's hard to wake up in the morning. United fan.
Liverpool fan. Liverpool.
Congrats. Not wholeheartedly.
We're off track now.
But yes, no worries.
Another podcast.
Another podcast. Yeah, sure.
Cross-pollination. Yeah, you don't know what you don't know, and humans we have a tendency to stick to what we know, and that's good.
Yeah.
But as you say, to divert and have a look over here, you learn something, and you might grab something and then take it back into your business.
So it was a large kind of like overhanging kind of like concern that I think would be good if you could talk about it, is supply chain and the impact of tariffs, which was something that fell on everybody. Nobody knew what it is. How has it kind of like disrupted the supply chain industry, and how are people trying to overcome that? I know we're not in America, but those decisions kind of do impact everybody across the world.
I think being pulled back, I think if a business didn't have it before, it's now giving them another contingency. They need to have another contingency plan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like disaster response force, stuff like this, because Trump and political leaders can do that. There's a lot of power in that. Not into the detail in terms of the implications, but you could imagine it would have massive implications for businesses in America, China. But for here, not so much. I don't think it was a massive change. So can't really comment too much on that, other than knowing the disruption and what it did to the share markets. With economic times, with geopolitical conflicts going on, interest rates, there's so many factors. So I think it's another thing for businesses to add into their repertoire at a board meeting to consider that maybe they didn't ever consider would happen.
Yeah. So maybe I want to also give you a chance to talk about so what is it that you guys do at Elite Logistics that kind of like sets you guys apart from the competition or the competition?
Good question. So I lead with three main services. So 3PL, national 3PL, particularly in Melbourne, so both east and west. So it's a bricks and mortar, rubber on the roads, our own trucks in every state that do retail, store to store, DC to store. So our own trucks hit every shopping centre, DFO and high street every day for a lot of major retail brands. So we're already going there. So for example, with 16 trucks in Melbourne hitting up all the shopping centres. And then the third service is 4PL, Logistics Solutions, freight management. What makes us different is then because we have skin in the game, both from a warehousing perspective and trucks. When we're out speaking to a customer, we're not say a broker saying, "Oh, we know your business," but then we don't have any warehouses or trucks. We're like, "No, we get your business. We have warehouses, we have trucks." We've got a nice blend. So it depends with the customer. If they need warehousing overflow, we can help. If they need trucks, we can put on our own trucks if it suits our business model. It has to obviously suit our business model. And 4PL, we multi-carrier approach, national solution for any type of product, going from any state to anywhere. So it's the 3 main services.
All right. Okay. So as a veteran of the industry and obviously still in it after all this
Veteran.
time. Veteran. Yeah. You don't. It's not about age. It's about experience, right? So you started younger, so you've had this all this time. So what are challenges that you would see, kind of maybe on across the horizon? What should people be aware of for logistics and for supply chain?
I'll take a different approach to this one.
Yeah.
I think it's more, again, from a human element. When things like what's going on, we just mentioned about tariffs and interest rates and the economy's tight, and people are find it tough, is actually look after yourself. And what we have a tendency to do is, what I did, is to work more, and you work more and more stress, and you're actually then no good to anyone. You're no good to your team, you're no good to your family, you're no good to the business. So making sure you take time for yourself to rest, recover, so then you can do a better job. But it's very easy to just keep working. So that's what I feel, or my truth whenever you ask that question, is to kind of take a breath, something I'm trying to get better at, and look after yourself so you can do a better job in your business.
Yeah.
Because if you're working too much and you're tired and you're stressed, you're going to make poor decisions, which could ultimately end in potential disaster.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. There's a definite interesting take that most people don't realize. It's to be well, focus on that. That's also important, as we also discussed in an earlier chat around attracting and keeping talent. It's something that might be difficult for people, because it's what your experience was, that you were put into the family business. For me, I would say I was kind of have always dealt with supply chain business, but I never really get put in the thick of things. So maybe what would you say, a way to retain, attract talent for people who might want to come into this world?
Good question. It's giving them a roadmap. It's I started, obviously my family business came here. I started here in customer service almost 10 years ago. Started in customer service, rep, answering phones, following up freight con notes around the country, finding out where people's parcels were. But being able to clearly articulate to people in the warehouse floor, or someone as a forklift driver, or someone's in customer service, or just starting out their career, clearly showing them that there's a roadmap to that, both in a logistics service provider, or all these great businesses, the vendors that are here, or they're a supply chain person for a big retail brand. Show them the trajectory, give them examples of people on LinkedIn. You'd be surprised the amount of people that go on to be CEOs of multinational global companies that started in supply chain. Supply chain's so vast. You don't just have to work for a trucking business or a warehousing business. You can be a supply chain manager, logistics manager in one of your favorite brands. So if your passion out there is hiking, there's hiking brands. If your passion out there is baby products, you can be a supply chain for a baby products company, and the list goes on. So I think we could all do better at clearly articulating that to everyone in the business, that there is a roadmap for you, and it goes both ways too. That, hey, you want to get to these roles, there's steps to get there. I'm going to help you get there, and here's how. But they also have to want it too. Because it's a bit of push and pull. You want them to come asking you questions, be hungry. What do I need to do to hit X, Y, and Z? Another thing is, exposing more people to this, what we're doing. We're lucky enough to be here. There's a lot of people, in the offices today, in the warehouses today, keeping the supply chain moving. But getting out and doing things like this shows that supply chain is sexy. That it's not all just dust and trucks and warehousing. So, more exposure. Conversations like this, you doing these podcasts, is another step forward, in my opinion, for the industry. And better communication, more in the media about it would probably help too, because it is one of the biggest, economic sort of
exactly
employers. Supply chain, 12% or something, the economy. So more awareness, publicity, all the robotics and all those things help. So I think it is starting to attract smarter people, better people from all walks of life, because typically it's always been, like you say, you fell into it. You got people coming from overseas to be in supply chain. People are educated, they're typically they go to the big EYs and the big fours of the world, but now more of those people are starting to come into supply chain.
I think in that, like, COVID has done a lot of bad, but one of the things that brought to the forefront is because of COVID, they realized, oh, that's why it takes that much effort to get, like, your groceries from the farm to the shop, and the shop then to delivery and all that. So kind of sometimes life, like, points out very clearly what we do or what's being done in the industry is really important. All right, so I'm gonna take a change of pace a little bit. Let's talk about there's this segment we call chain reaction. So at this point, my producer will put the word chain reaction in the in the thoughts here. So some personal questions. So what's Kyle like outside of work? What do you like to do to relax?
Well, I got 2 kids, so work pretty hard Monday to Friday. Weekends downtime. So 5-year-old boy, 4-year-old girl. So time's exclusively with them weekends, planning things, going around Melbourne, picking things on, like what's on in Melbourne, getting them exposing them to a lot of things that early years. Fitness could be doing a better. I've just relocated back to Melbourne from the Gold Coast and moving houses as well next week, so pretty busy with that. So we need to get back to fitness. Used to run marathons, haven't in a while. Gym, reading, more audiobooks, but mostly spend time with the family, because that time you don't get back.
Yes, of course.
Catching up with friends, family, it's the usual stuff.
Yeah.
No major hobbies. It's something for me to think about. Used to play guitar, used to play soccer, Gaelic, a lot of sports, but over the last few years, last year in particular, I have a lot of change in my life, so just trying to find stability again. But I think spend time with the kids, that's all they really want. Like, you can buy kids nice things, right? I've been there from, like, my upbringing, but all they actually want to do is get down on their level and play with them. It could be the simple do a jigsaw with them. They remember that connection more than buying them a toy or giving them a PlayStation or putting my son on Minecraft. Those sorts of things. Like, they actually just want your time. So all in exclusively weekends, family time.
All right. So what's a place where you would like to go for vacation? As in somewhere that you've been to before, or a dream destination? Where would you want to go?
Yeah, I'd love to go to New York. Probably would be one. New York, just sort of the iconic pyramids. Definitely the pyramids. Would love to see the pyramids. Nothing really. South America, some description. Call it Sao Paulo, is it? With the statue of Christ.
The Sugarloaf Hill.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Okay. Yeah. Well. All right. What is a book that you have read that you think everybody should read? It will be an audiobook too. That's fine.
Good question. Thinking through a few, but thinking for the right one. Good question. Yeah, they're all my businessy type books. I'm trying to think, and most of them are trying to think of a non-fiction one. One I'm listening to. Mel Robbins actually is a recent one. Mel Robbins, Let Them. A lot of people know this is Let Them. So in summary, it's like you can't control what other people think or what other people do. And if someone's annoyed you or something's not going your way, it's just like let them. You know what I mean? It's like someone didn't invite you to a party and you see pictures of them online. Like, why they're my friends? I'm so want to be family and friends. It's like let them. Because you let go of that seed of resentment, then you're the one carrying that burden.
Exactly.
So Mel Robbins, Let Them. Quite well known book at the moment.
Cool. Something I'll have to add to my read list. All right, last question. What did you buy the most recent thing you bought online?
No, I don't buy online actually.
No, you don't buy it online?
It's not my department.
A supply chain person that doesn't
No, I
take
don't
part
actually.
of that?
No, I'm trying to no, I don't.
Okay.
It's not my department.
So it's the missus.
Yes.
Okay, well that's delegation. That's good. Good
I'm
management.
fairly simple. Believe it or not.
Yeah?
Yeah. Up shopping, don't mind up shopping, don't mind up shops. So don't buy online actually.
Okay, well that's definitely new for you. But Kyle, thank you so much for the chat. Appreciate to have you here.
Thank you, appreciate it. Good to see you.